I used to envy Marsha and her easy laugh, the way she poured coffee for everyone during our Thursday book club. She listened more than she spoke, smiled more than she frowned. I envied her so much that I could taste it, bitter and coppery, on my tongue. The others too, Cindy, who always had the right quote ready, Lara, who told stories about her travels, as if each place could burst into the room with the force of her words, and Susan, who'd lost her husband and still managed to find color in the world. I was their friend, but I was also something lurking among them, and no one seemed to notice. It started with whispers. At first, I barely heard them myself. Faint, thin voices, rasping through the crack between waking and dreaming. "He's watching," they said. I crafted the stalker out of my fear and my longing in equal measure, tall, faceless, pressing his shape against my windows after midnight. I made sure to tell the group about him, letting the edges blur between fact and fantasy. The way they glanced at one another, uncertain, made a tight, giddy warmth bloom in my chest. Suddenly, I was the center, a new kind of interesting. My story was more gripping than our novels. One night, when we met in my living room, firelight flickering, empty cups littering the table, I told them he'd been inside my house, how I'd heard the floorboards moan and felt breath scrape my neck while I slept. They comforted me, held my hands, offered to call the police, but I insisted that he was clever, silent, that he'd find a way past any locks. What followed was a night blurred by wine and adrenaline. I remember how the shadows crawled beneath the lampshade while I recounted, in feverish detail, the things he might do. My voice brought them low and trembling. I watched fear steal across their faces, threading them all together. I was their shepherd, guiding them into the dark. Afterwards, the police would ask me, over and over, what happened. I told them the same story I'd woven for months. I woke to the shriek of breaking glass, the thud of boots. I saw a man wielding a black blade. I hid, powerless, as he moved through the house. In my story, I wept and shivered in a cupboard, heard the wet hush of violence outside the thin door. The funerals were closed casket. Everyone believed me. I became the tragic survivor, the lone witness to the horror no one saw coming. But all the while, I feel their eyes, not from memory, but from everywhere, in the scuffed wood of the floors, the hush before sleep, the murmur of pages fluttered by a stale wind. Sometimes, when I look in the mirror, a shape flickers behind me, almost familiar. I made the stalker real for them, yes, but now he is real for me, standing just beyond the doorway, silent, waiting for me to finish the story.